Hello, good evening, and welcome to the British Esports Twitch channel. My name is Joy K. I'm being joined by Black Boxer to cast tonight's finals for the Student Champs. How are you doing today, Black Boxer?
I'm really good, thanks. Super excited to be getting into this one. We've got a really exciting matchup between these two teams, and it's great to, be able to do these finals because it's been a long season for these teams and they've had a long road to get here. So to see that culmination is it's a really exciting time.
It definitely is an exciting time, and we have two teams that are going to be battling it out. We have EGSB versus Belfast. And now I'm just thinking what Belfast non-mates, no, sorry,
Buffaloes, I
Belfast
think.
Mad Buffaloes.
Yeah.
Gotcha. It's on the screen actually.
It is indeed, but to be fair, I wasn't aware that they were the Buffaloes until a little bit recently, but I do love that as a team name. It's a
Hmm.
little more interesting, I guess, to say than AGSB, but no, nothing against these teams as players, but I do like the Buffaloes name a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a bit more gives us a bit more entertainment while we are casting. Just as a heads up, this is the roster starting from the top lane on the top left side all the way down to support with this, which is Remy Moo on the bottom right, and this is the lineup they will be playing with tonight.
Yeah, S2A, Osti, Opik, Gojo, and Remimu going to be the roster for this Belfast squad, and they've had a great time of it so far this year. They haven't lost a single game. They're just rolling through, had a really, really strong run. You can see it here on your screen right now, beating out the Confetti Arrows in a 2-0 most recently to be able to get themselves into this Northern Final. And so, super impressive team, definitely coming in today as those top dogs, as the favourites. You can see back there in round 4, they ended up winning against AGSB, so they even have form about beating this other team. So definitely the favourites coming into today.
Yeah, absolutely. What an impressive run.
Really is. And so we should also be able to have a quick look in a second at the AGSB team, who haven't had quite such a strong showing. It's been a lot more up and down. The roster for them is going to be Riven, Harold Knight, Sebula, and then in the bot lane, this one says Jin and Godly, but that has changed around a little bit. You can see their subs are going to be moving in right here. You're going to end up with Mazatua in the ADC role, and the main ADC, sorry, Jin, going to move down to the sub spot. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects the team.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how that is going to play out. Seeing Jin taking on that support role, probably something he'd be comfortable doing, considering that this is a swap they are making. Here we are seeing the run that they have had through this split. Still an impressive run, all in all, if you ask me.
Absolutely. A lot of good wins here, beating out the Confetti Arrows as well, which is one of those top teams, the one that Belfast had to beat here in a best of 3 to be able to make it to these finals. Definitely no slouches either, but it's a lot more up and down, right, than the Belfast run. They've had a very clean, easy time of it right now, coming in as favourites for this one. But AGSB, as those underdogs, they could definitely show us a bit of an upset right here. And if they're able to come in and beat out onto this one, it would be a great time to be able to show that true level of your form. And of course, it always sucks when, one of your main roster players can't make it. But it's always a great time to be able to see other players, see if maybe somebody can step up. There's always a situation in which Jin has a great time in support. Mazatua is able to step up and really show off the fact that, hey, maybe I should be on the main roster rather than being one of the substitutes. So it will be a great little view down into this bottom lane because the bottom lane matchup is specifically quite interesting. We've got Remimu, that support for Belfast, who has just a ton of playtime and is also pretty high ranked for the student champs, sitting about Emerald at the moment. So in a really strong position to, try to be able to fight this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to pick your brain on that. We're looking at this roster swap a little bit then here, but we're also looking at Buffaloes have already beaten AGSB
Mm.
once. This was in a best of one though. Take that into account. But how do you think this will play out into, well, at least the first game that we're heading into?
I could see the bot lane being one of those main focus lanes, whether it's through the junglers trying to get down into there, or through some extra exciting picks. We do know that Remy likes to play those more enchanter types, but maybe you step away from that. Maybe you go for something a little bit more aggressive and really try to push your opponents. You don't know how good Jin is in the support role. You don't know how good this bot lane is going to be, so if you can really try to push them, try to get your big advantage there. If it crumbles, that can be a great place to sort of find a weak point in your oppositions.
Yeah, absolutely. Finding that weak point and then pushing through to close out this finals. But we will see as we will head into Champ Select.
Alrighty. Straight on into the champ select. And right now, we're seeing these are not standard meta bans. This is definitely a lot more towards banning out onto, the more specific things that oppositions are going to be playing. With the
Mm-hmm.
Camille, the Riven, that's a lot of focus up towards the top lane. The Gragas also getting taken out means this top lane pool has been pinched pretty much immediately.
Yeah, it has been. I'm looking at the Annie ban and thinking to myself, what is up with that? Melio is locked in first. Probably a high comfort here, I would say.
Yeah, you would imagine so. It's going to be one of those things that, Remy loves those enchanters, pairs up
Mm,
amazingly with the Jinx. You can see that Jinx Emilio going to be locked in right here. The Heimerdinger too. Now, that is a brilliant damage profile. You've got a lot of your high damage and support for those picked up right here. I'd love to see from the jungle a little bit more tanky, something that you can really try to play around these carries from. You don't need to carry from the jungle in this situation. You don't need to carry from top lane. You've got more than enough damage in those solo laners.
yeah, absolutely. Something more of an engage tool would be nice to look at as well here. The kickball from Melio, not really the best to start off and engage with.
It's something, I guess, but yeah, you're possibly reliant more on the Jinx traps in that lane than really the
Mm.
Milio at that point, which isn't going to be the best spot to put yourselves in. Rise also going to be hovered right here. It would be an engage tool, but I don't know how much you want to just fling your whole team
Ooh.
into the backline. Is going to be locked in. Obviously, at this level, it's a lot less about good team composition, much more about what it is that your players like, what they enjoy picking up. I think that will end up being a Heimerdinger top Rise mid, although of course they could be swapped around right here. Rek'Sai going to be the hover to see what Belfast are going to round out their composition with. Rek'Sai, I like it in this composition at the moment. It is also super aggressive, can gank really effectively, so you can make all of these picks work. There will be the Jax locked in right here. The reason why this
Yeah.
one's gone so quickly is because this will have been a, draft that was done previously without proxies, and then you're just going to pick it through right here. Really fascinating composition out of Belfast and AGSB there.
Yeah, I mean, if I ask you, which
Mm.
one do you prefer?
I think I prefer what Belfast is putting down. It's a lot less
Mm-hmm.
well-rounded overall, I'd say. The Cassante gives you a lot of extra tankiness that you're kind of missing out on overall as Belfast, but at the same time, if you can get a couple of those damage threats ahead, and that's something that, Belfast have been so good at doing, then you've got the kind of composition that can just completely take over.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a bit of a it's a bit of a mix up, right? When
Mm,
you see so many tanky champions coming out on one side, and then you see a lot of mages, honestly,
mm.
coming out to try and counteract that. I mean, I hope that Jinx gets the space to try and do that damage to the front line, but we will see as we head into game number one.
Okay. Straight on into this first game right here, and I think immediately we should be looking down towards this bottom side of the map because the Jinx Milio can be pretty aggressive. You're obviously looking to scale, you want to get into the late game, but that's kind of the same thing that you're looking at in a Sivir composition as well. Sivir is that late game scaling carry where you can just absorb waves for days. You don't deal as much damage as the Jinx does in the late game, but once you get to that 3 to 4 item point, you can't push waves into a Sivir. They just get melted immediately. But with a Nautilus in that lane, you always want to get a little bit more aggressive with the Nautilus. We'll see what Jhin is able to do with that one. And beyond that, both of these junglers are really good at getting into lanes and getting ganks off early. Be interesting to see where the junglers start and where they path to, because you could potentially try to look into this bottom lane to try to make that explosive lane to play around, as we were talking about earlier.
Mm, yeah, yeah, I definitely prefer the Nautilus here to the Emilio. Able to just also, as you said, like try to force out some summoners early and
Mm.
get Herald down there. See what they can get done there.
It is going to be a start towards the bottom side of the map for both of these junglers, working their way up towards top side. The grabs spawn a little bit later on now, so, you're not really trying to go for that immediate fight around them like you used to. You don't have to rush up there, decide between the Drake or the grubs. But in terms of just pure clears and clear speeds overall, Rek'Sai does not clear particularly healthy. She's a lot better than she used to be. There used to be a time when Rek'Sai clears early on were pretty miserable, but you're not going to be clearing as healthy overall as a Jax should be able to, and so that's something you have to be careful with. If you're both moving towards the same side of the map as they are right now, and you end up trying to fight around a scuttle, you're at a pretty big disadvantage in the early stages as this Rek'Sai. You're much more looking to get involved in ganks than the straight up 1v1 skirmishes.
First up comes out, there's a route to follow, there's already the flash and the ignite coming out. Heal and Ghost still being held on to. I was gonna say, OP on the Jinx, a lot of good damage output early on here to try and poke down the enemy, but will ultimately get punished for that and lose one sum.
And like you said, the early aggression that you can get out of a Nautilus trying to blow summoner spells is really strong, and getting that flash already is going to make Opik way more vulnerable down here. Need to be really careful to not overstep. Still got the Ghost obviously to try to get away, but you're now sat at half health, not a lot of mana left, and in a vulnerable position if you get hooked again. Got to be really careful to try to avoid those best as possible.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely until we have now I'm trying to remember what it's called. Milio just has such adorable names on his abilities, but you know that I'm talking about the ulti, obviously.
Yeah, that cozy campfire right there. Breath of life even for the ult.
Breath of life, because you have cozy campfire and you have the warm cozy hugs or something like that.
Warm hugs. You've got ultra mega fire kick, the awesomest name for the most meh of abilities, but
it really is. It's so underwhelming for its name.
Alongside the Super Mega Death Rocket, which is cool enough for that name. It's a very funny bot lane that you've got right here in terms of those pure names. But yeah, of course, that Breath of Life is going to be huge to be able to cleanse away some of that CC. Really good, especially for that depth charge out of the Nautilus. There's going to be plenty that you want to get rid of as well once you get into the fights with Harold Knight and Sebula in those lanes, actually threatening on, trying to get big bits of damage down. We're having a look at the mid lane right now. Not a lane that we have, particularly spoken about. I don't really see... Oh, hang on.
Oh. We might be looking at first blood here as we do some wonderful knock-up here from Aussie as they come in on the Rex side. S2A still darting around, picks up the first blood here. The flash is already out, might still fall here to the hands of the Cassante and will fall indeed, but Aussie might be able to trade that kill back.
Oh, misses it!
Not quite able to land that, and Riven will walk away with his life. One kill apiece for the top lane, but first blood still going over to the right.
So close. That Prey Seeker, I mean, I'm not sure if it would have done quite enough damage to have actually been able to kill there. There was a lot of healing coming through for Riven as well, making good use of that grasp. But either way, those early kills going down, one onto a Rise, one onto a Cassante, is sort of evens in a lot of ways. You really don't want to let this Cassante get too far ahead because the tankiness can be very hard to deal with, but you've also got plenty of cut through with a Jinx, with a Heimerdinger. You're not that worried about actually being able to kill something tanky like a Cassante. I'd be a lot more worried if I was...
Oh no, how did that hit?
Oh, good kick. Great
That's a really good kick.
Yeah, really good.
Remy just casually carrying there with the enchanters.
It's super frustrating to play again, isn't it? You think you've got a great engage, but you just get bopped back. Stops all of that momentum that you might have gotten for yourself. Harold Knight is still around in the area. Could potentially be looking at trying to go for a repeat gank. If they do that, Osti is going to be around. And you can see Jhin positioning super aggressively, zoning Emimu and Opik away from this wave, just trying to get them starved out in terms of XP and minion gold.
Yeah. This is starting to stack up to be a big wave. Osti is now shown himself down in the bottom lane. Hextech Drake is up. We'll just be leaving a tunnel.
Yeah, not going to be going for that one. I don't think either of these teams are really in a position to just walk up and go try take onto this Drake without winning a fight first, or at least inciting one that you potentially aren't going to win if you've already taken a lot of Drake damage. Especially right now for AGSB, you can't move on to this Drake in any way really because your mid lane has been so pushed in. Sebula's going to have to go back to base relatively soon, beginning to run low on both mana and health. Gojo doesn't have the best health at the moment. They are in the area trying to clear out a lot of the vision, but Harold Knight, I'm just going to leave that one. You don't want to start up a Drake when you don't have mid lane priority. You could potentially go for a gank onto the mid lane, though.
Yeah, he's very pushed in. Looks like Jin was exactly thinking that as Nautilus arrived into the mid lane. Grubs being picked up here by Rek'Sai.
We didn't get to see what happened with Gojo right there, but considering no deaths and no summoner spells went down, we can infer what went on. And Asti will be able to pick up all 3 of these grubs. We're now going to see a brawl in the top lane, but Remimu has made his way up here.
He has. Will be spotted by the ward here in the bush. But the fight's already started to kick off here onto that Sante. Unstoppable. The drag under the tower will not connect as there's no tower range yet. So Asti can just walk out of there unscathed.
You can see the idea right there out of AGSB. They really wanted to try for that 2v2. The Jax and the Cassante do a ton together as Gojo trying for a solo kill here. Does he have the damage?
He might actually. Actually not running the ignite, and that is going to be punishing here as Nico walks away with about 1 HP.
Oh, that was super, super close. Again, the Praise Seeker not quite being able to do enough damage to find another one of those kills. Asti has had a couple of ganks that looked like they were going to be so effective, but not quite able to do what they are looking to. Instead, just going to pick up this bottom lane Scuttle Crab, give a little bit of extra vision around this Drake, and continue on with the farming. Only got 2 camps down in this bottom lane. Will potentially be looking for a reset relatively soon. That could end up being a window for AGSB to try to move towards this Drake.
Could be. Control ward here being placed down by Jin. It's like he's smelling it. It's like, yeah, I think I have the space. I'm just gonna go.
Ooh.
Remy, a little bit caught out here in the river. Might get collapsed upon. Looks like that would almost be the case here. Might still be. No. Pops that movement speed and will walk out of there for now. Drake does get started.
Gonna potentially try step up for this one now. Instead, Asti has... Oh, well, I was going to say has realised, no, actually it's going to step back over. Always has a tunnel to try for the smite.
Super Mega Death Rocket gets fired, doesn't find a mark here.
Is in the pit, could be
now
stolen.
Over the wall,
Got it!
Manages to steal it. Chemtech Drake confirmed for them. Will pay with his life, but I would say that arguably not the worst outcome here for the Buffaloes.
Yeah, you got to be pretty happy with that one. Great steal onto Asti. It's the kind of play that you make when you're feeling really confident on a champion. The Rek'Sai is great at going for those steals. You had the rest of your team backing you up. It's unfortunate the Super Mega Death Rocket didn't land out of Ovic, but at the same time, it bought a little bit of space, told you that everybody had backed off from the back of the pit, had stood on the outside. So you do have that space once you jump into the pit as Asti to be able to stand for a second, try to deal the damage, go for that smite fight. It's unfortunate for Harold Knight to have that one stolen away. Still, you managed to pick up the kill in return, so it's not all roses for Belfast Met, but no, getting a steal away always going to be good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, must be feeling quite confident here.
Look at the CS gap that's happening in the jungle right here. Asti is up by a good chunk. Pretty much 20 full CS, which, considering the fact that Rek'Sai can struggle a little bit with those early clears when weaving them in with ganks as well, not going to be the best look for Harold Knight. Going to need to find a little bit of extra CS at this point to try to get back into this one. In terms of items, though, right now, pretty much dead even. In fact, going to be a little bit ahead because of the magical footwear, so you're not in too much of an issue at the moment. It's just when these bases come through that things could change. Is this a collapse?
Yeah, and that... Oh. Gojo trying to dance around here. I'm not sure if he can get away. Nice stun landed, though. And that means that the Heimerdinger gets to dinger-donger right out of there.
Does indeed.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say the barrier blown and the TP, so, you know, a couple big summoner spells. But yeah, he just gets away from that one.
Now we see the value of the barrier, I suppose, but the TP gets committed here from Nico. Sebula already being in the area actually kind of forces the blue team to back off. Looks like they don't quite want to do that. Remimu, presenting himself as a tasty snack and still alive. The Pop Blossom gets committed, but will not be enough to keep Remimu alive. This time, they will confirm that kill. And now the red team full on collapsing here. On to AGSB. Rise will fall in the end as well. Asti picks up 1 kill, but will it be enough to get them even? No, it will not, as Riven picks up another one for himself. Grub's
Asti...
actually still available throughout this whole skirmish.
Osti's still alive as well. Osti is on a bit of a magical journey.
He is on a slither of health.
Oh,
he's
gonna get over the wall.
Oh! Lands the stun, but cannot connect the damage. And now, all of a sudden, Harold picking up 3 kills here for himself. Trying to close that CS gap with a bit of kills.
And does a great job of it, actually. Gonna be very, very effective right there. Like you said, most of the grubs are actually still alive. I think 2 of them might still be alive.
Yeah.
So, not actually going to be able to take these down, but a huge injection of gold right here for Harold Knight, who very effectively played fight. And the issue was it just got split for Belfast. They ended up with members all around. The full engage onto Remimu felt like a bit of an odd choice at the beginning. You commit a couple of big ultis, including the Pop Blossom, which you usually want to land onto as many people as possible, just to kill the support. But once that Milio is down, you're then much, much easier able to pick off the other members of the team. They don't have that healing, they don't have that extra speed ups or anything. So a well played fight, and could be a repeat onto Gojo here. Osti is in the area though.
Could be. Jin is here as well. Oh, but there comes the Jax. Counter-strike already committed. The Pop Blossom goes out as well. Will land onto Osti. Osti rooted up and will fall here in return. Another ulti committed here from the Nautilus, but not much else to be done. Super Mega Death Rocket again misses its mark.
Yeah, it's a very quick kill, and it really unfortunate right there for Osti. Stepped up into this mid lane, really just trying to show a little bit of support, make sure that the engage didn't come through onto Gojo. But with the 2 big ultis being committed all of a sudden, especially that Pop Blossom, just adding that extra layering of CC on, making sure that Gojo couldn't step up to try to deal any return damage. Despite the fact that this Rek'Sai has a completed Strike Breaker, is relatively tanky, it just didn't matter, was taken down incredibly quickly. And so, a very nice little play from AGSB again. And reminder, these are the underdogs coming into this one. And beyond a bit of an even 1-for-1 play in the top lane early on, everything else has been coming up AGSB so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was just going to say when we were talking about this earlier skirmish in the river, that I would have been so interested to see the replay here, to see what happened to Ryze. I feel like Ryze arrived to the scene fairly low already and was kind of just killed for free.
Yeah. Not able to do too much right here, as I think Asti was trying to steal away. That Drake wasn't able to in the end, and has left it on about half health. Thank you for the leash. Can Asti steal another one away though? Let's see. That
is the question so far. Sabila not really able to step up yet. Sivir had to loop around, but now I think this Drake is gonna definitely go over to AGSB. No steal this time for Asti.
No, it would have been a very bold steal in that situation. You could tell the AGSB, they knew that they'd messed up in the last one, corrected that. Really impressive to see that immediate correction. Hook gonna land.
Hook. Yeah, that's going to be a very easy kill. No, maybe not. The flash forward here. Mazatutu definitely found himself here. Still going that lethal tempo. Sivir, so very lethal. Will pick up her first kill on that first item.
And that was the big difference right there. It was the first item already completed, whereas Opik hadn't been able to get back to base. Really, really good spot. And because you have that item advantage, Jin just walks up and goes, yeah, I can take this one. Jin apparently going to be just fine on the Nautilus moving out of support. And so far, that difference, that substitution, the bot lane, really hasn't meant anything. You're in a very good position as Mazatutu with that first item completed, a Coalfields Warhammer as well at this point. You're a full half item ahead of your opponent, and you could potentially just pull the trigger again. Oh, good play,
the shutdown. Harold getting shut down here. Sebula already very low. Heimerdinger can, of course, poke from a very safe distance, because looking at Gojo's health, they maybe don't really want to commit for that. Flash gets committed the moment that I say they maybe don't. Excuse me.
Oh, Gojo, play with fire there.
Flying. Rift Herald will be confirmed here. I think that flash from Asti was just pure, exerting the dominance there. Like,
oh yeah,
this is mine.
This is my space. You are not allowed to step up right here, yeah. It doesn't end up picking up a kill, but you do still force everybody else back. Picks you up the Drake, so... sorry, the Herald, so not the end of the world. More fighting in the bot lane.
More fighting in the bot lane indeed, but this time it's Jhin falling very low. The cozy campfires and the warm hugs and everything that is super mega awesome. He's trying to keep Jhin alive, but it doesn't really help Melios. Melios the first one to fall. Just looking at 3 deaths here on Remimu. Already, Jinx.
Oh
Jinx
boy!
actually manages to pick up a kill there. Sivir is so very, very low, but I don't think you want to try and go for that one. Definitely not with the company that the Sivir has.
No.
Jinx is gonna respect. I'm gonna say Jinx is gonna respect as she walks up. No. Jinx is gonna respect that one. Sivir going back to base. Unharmed.
Yeah, and despite the fact that the cavalry arrived, everybody arrived to try to help out in that bottom lane play, it was really just Jhin and Mazatutu. The amount of damage that Mazatutu specifically is doing at the moment is a little bit disgusting, let's say, as they are well on the way to that next completed item. Oh, talking of items that are going to be completed soon, look at what is in the inventory right now of Gojo.
I was just about looking at something very big.
Oh, that's
as he
gonna
dies,
be a start.
actually,
As he
by
dies.
the way,
Yeah.
doesn't have the barrier up and available. Held on to the flash. But yeah, no, exactly. Needlessly large, and soon to be completed. As we see.
Yeah, should be
yeah.
the death cap incoming. Although that hashtag
I am
alternator,
confused now.
yeah, is now halfway towards a shadow flame as well.
Maybe he's still making up his mind.
Possibly. I mean, of course, the hashtag alternator can go into some other things that you like quite a lot as that Heimerdinger, so it's not the end of the world. It will be the death cap. There we go.
Yeah.
I like it. You need some extra damage. Well, death cap is always good, especially because you're always going to go towards the rower as that rise. You know, you're wanting that extra mana. You're just going to want that extra tanky stats as well for a rise, and so to be that pure AP threat, that's the way that you want to go towards as this Heimerdinger.
Yeah, absolutely. And also just because you have that safe range, you know, and once you get those pokey items that do a lot of damage, you can be so dangerous. Jhin taking so much damage. A pop loss! I'm actually connected to 4 people! As Nico goes going, Aussie in the middle of everybody, standing for not just long enough as we see the Jinx just trying to poke out damage back and forth. Everybody falling low, but not enough for her to get excited about it or write home to anyone about. And it means that the red team is going to back off just the skin of their teeth is reducing. Gojo still trying to poke everybody down. Nico will make it back to base.
Man, that Comet was nearly enough to get a kill, but I mean, what an incredible ultimate right there out of Sebula. The Pop Blossom is, I think, the coolest ability in the game. We always used to talk about, you know, how a Shockwave was the big wombo combo ultimate. Nah. I think nowadays, it's the Nico ult. That Pop Blossom onto multiple members right there was huge and won them the fight because you're in such a close situation. So many people getting so low. If Opic manages to find that first kill, that can be an excited Jinx that can run through that team fight, but because you can't do that, everybody is stunned up by Sebula. That team fight goes in the favor of AGSB, and it's...
Yeah, I mean, I was with you on that thought. Opic seems to be safe for now.
Yeah,
no, I totally agree. I was just thinking, like, man, if just one of them would just die.
One
but
kill.
Then they all just didn't. Jhin got to live, Harold got to live. And that makes the fighting so hard for Opic to do really anything except for just try to dance around all the CC that's being thrown around.
Yeah, they just have to be so careful in this situation. They're down by about 2,000, 3,000 gold right now. Still, just able to walk in, bully out AGSB, pick up this Drake, turn tail and run. Nobody gonna die either. I think AGSB could have tried to push their advantage a little bit harder right now. They're pinging Baron though. This is the boldest call possible. I love it.
Yeah, this is exactly what you want to see from the Student Champ Finals. We do see the Rift Herald finding a charger, the bot tower going to be falling. Open up the map a little bit here for the Buffalo's second charge. As we do actually see the Baron being started here.
Oh, Osti is here,
Osti's
but it's
there.
just Osti.
Osti is there. will
this...
actually get knocked up. I do believe that they will not be making it out of there, and I'm completely right. Baron has been reset though.
Yeah, you do at least stop the Baron, that is true. Arsty's life traded for the Baron staying alive. Not going to be the end of the world. Overall, though, you're definitely going to take this one right here as Belfast. You're able to grab yourself that Drake. You stop a Baron going over. You're going to be able to push onto this mid lane turret and pick this one up as well, which is going to be pretty huge, to be honest. The 4 grubs definitely going to help in terms of that one. And the gold lead that was about 4,000 going to be brought back down to about 2k. And it's really, really fascinating right here. The kills, if you just look at the kills, it looks like there's a massive lead right here for AGSB. But the gold does not reflect that. The Drakes do not reflect that. The turrets don't reflect that either. And it's a lot coming from the fact that, yeah, sure, a lot of kills are going over, but the CS leads are in the favour of Belfast as well. And all of the map pressure too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Belfast, they are taking their time. They know that they have a really nice scaling Jinx. I mean, they have a lot of very powerful picks for the late game. Taking their time, controlling the map, and they are the favorite to come into this matchup.
Yeah, they should be stomping. You know, they've won against AGSB. In terms of just looking at their results before today, you'd think, stomp, easy, 2-0s every day of the week. And they are keeping themselves well and truly in this game, but a lot of credit to AGSB for the way that they've played out this early one. I think the real reason that they've not been able to pull it as far ahead as the kills indicate is it's pretty much always just 1 or 2 kills rather than a big team fight win. They've been getting their kills in dribs and drabs, and sure, that's good. Oh, hang on.
Oh, there's another Pop Blossom. It's
He was a
so
minion.
beautiful as Sabula just single-handedly obliterates the bot lane on the side of the Buffaloes. Incredible play here from this Nico.
Nico was a minion. Nico was a minion.
You have to count them.
Oh, you're going to force Arsdy away as well. Going to be able to turn up AGSB. They want to pick themselves up this Baron. That's going to be the big team fight win with a couple of kills that they really needed. Now chasing up onto S2A. Does a lot of damage.
From Sebula might have bit off more than they could chew as they fall here, immediately punished for this incredibly aggressive flash. But S2A will fall in return, and
still
Baron
fight this.
will be started up here.
Still can fight this. Oh no. Oh, that was an over-aggressive step right there out of Gojo. It's going to lead to a death again, though. Everybody getting super, super low from this Baron, taking a ton of damage. And this is now the second time that an attempted Baron take has ended with kills going over to AGSB, but not the Baron. It's been dissuaded once again. Still, though, it's getting closer and closer to the point where AGSB are going to actually be able to take down this Drake. You've now got 2 fully completed items right now onto this Cassante. Looks like they're going to be going... Actually, that's a slightly confusing set of items in the inventory. Either way, just going to be going towards the tankiest set that you can possibly pick up for yourself. So you've now got 2 completed onto the Sivir, 2 completed onto your Nico as well, in just a super, super strong position to be able to take this advantage you've got for yourself and use it. Now back up to the 4k gold lead that they had previously. That being said, though, we've got another Drake spawning in less than a minute's time, and so far the Drakes have been pretty kind to BNB rather than AGSB.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first one just being stolen right in front of their noses, that must have stung a little bit if you're AGSB. But the other ones have been a little bit more, how so to say, one-sided.
Yeah, absolutely they have been. You can see the setup just coming through. Jhin tries to get
Nico's
a little bit of vision. Nico's a minion. Oh, it's gonna
Nico's
work!
a minion, there's another Pop Blossom, and they just do not seem to learn as it connects, but this time Asti will pick up the kill, and now Emilio just gets to pump out the heals here onto the backline, keeping everybody alive as they split up the team of AGSB. 3 kills, it's a full team wipe. Infernal Drake on the menu next.
Oh my
Wait,
lord.
never mind. They don't even need to
They don't
Drake.
care
They
about
are
the
committing
Drake.
with the Riftwalk. They are going to this Baron.
Yeah, gonna head straight on up to the Baron with 20 seconds until the jungler spawns. This one should be pretty easily picked up right here for Belfast. After 2 attempts from AGSB to find themselves the Baron, all it takes is one big team fight. And what is it that you said? It was the Jinx getting a kill and getting excited. As soon as you do that, you can just pop off. And it was an over-aggressive commit onto trying to kill S2A. And unfortunately, S2A had a completed Seraphs. The shield was just insanely big. You're not going to be able to pick up that kill. Roa is going to make the Ryze tanky anyway. And because you've pumped all of your damage into a target that just refused to die, things go so badly wrong. You get quick resets as well out of Belfast, so the Buffaloes are going to be coming back with even better items. And now we're going to get round 2 around this Infernal Drake.
That we are indeed. Kills are getting closer and closer. Still the lead here for AGSB. They have now dragged the dragon out of the pit. Dragged that dragon. It's falling extremely low though. Aussie still nowhere to be seen. The root connects here onto Ryze. Will fall immediately. Super Mega Death Rocket does not find his target. A great attempt to steal it from Gojo, but will not be very few. No. I lost my English.
Not going to be able to pick that one
Help
up,
me.
yeah. Not gonna find that one, although you are right, it was a good attempt from Gojo to get that steal, and that was a much better play right there out of AGSB. That Seraph's did not, the Seraph shield was not available there for S2A, so they weren't able to survive face tanking all of the damage out of AGSB. They're going to be able to pick up that Drake, take it to 2 Drakes apiece. We're still quite a way away from Soul at this point. But there are still Baron buffs available on everybody but S2A. You're still going to be able to try to use these effectively. But without any of these outer turrets available, it feels like the push has sort of stalled out a little bit out of Belfast. They're a lot more effective at team fighting around objectives than just pushing waves. Part of that is because of all of that wave clear. Like I was talking about right at the start, Mazatutu on this Civ, it has wave clear for days, especially now you've got yourself that Kraken and Quick Blades completed. It's very easy to just melt through these waves, and it means that this push is pretty difficult to actually get going. We'll see as they try to push this mid wave through, but yeah, the Civ just absorbs it.
Yeah, it didn't even have time to make it to the tower. It was already gone. Pushing into Civ are super fun.
It's so fun. You get so far, right? You
get
all the way.
It made it just past the halfway mark of the lane.
Hey, it's over halfway, right? It's over halfway. We take those. But this is not what you want, right, from your Baron buff. As much as we're laughing and joking, a Baron buff should be pushing onto these inner turrets much more effectively. With the Baron empowered minions, it is a little bit trickier, and they're finally just going to brute force their way up. Do still have themselves some of the grubs and that cannon empowered Baron minion. So they're trying, but you're not actually able to fully take this one down. It's going to take a second wave to be able to actually push onto this turret. And at the same time, Riven down in the bot lane on that Cassante is getting a big wave pushed in. Somebody's going to have to go back and deal with him.
Somebody is going to have to do that, but there is no TP available, so we'll actually have to come out of a reset. It looks like they are willing.
Oh, that's huge!
But there's their pop blast, and once again, connecting on the 3 people. Aussie will be falling solo, will get deleted right away. Here's
Riven in the backline.
Ryze on the side. Yes, now Riven has teleported in onto the backline here. Jhin falling extremely low, but actually, Ryze is still alive. I'm sorry, what did I say? We have that Seraph's completed. The shield was massive to begin with, but now it's gone. It's depleted completely. Oh, what a snipe! Still standing, just snipes Masu where he is standing. Dancing around, there's the healing coming out from the Melio. What stats they are making here.
Harold?
Can Harold do anything here?
I don't think he should. I think Harold should probably step away in this situation. Finally, he's going to turn tail.
I think he might.
He wants it. He can one-shot Gojo right now, but the thing is Remy Moo is there to be able to push back with that super fire kick. So I'm not sure how much you really want to just fling yourself forwards. It's going to start the chickens. Gojo steps up. Oh, this is so risky for all involved.
This is so risky, but Gojo is baiting, I think. He's just baiting Harold to try and jump onto him.
Oh!
Another snipe!
Okay. Hey, that's why you start with a death cap, right? That's why you start with a death cap right there. Huge damage. Holy,
that is just a statement coming out of this Heimerdinger at this point. This is
really
the second time he did that.
And that fight started off of just another incredible engage out of Sebula. Now, the build that Sebula has gone for with that Hectic Proto Belt as well as that Zhonya's doesn't deal a lot of damage. So you're not going to be able to burst people with the Pot Blossom. It's just about that big engage that stuns everybody up for a couple seconds. Then you're relying on the rest of your team from getting in. Riven TP'd immediately, but the time that it took for Riven's TP to actually go through was a little bit too long. You didn't have that big tanky Cassante. And of course, you have to spend a while trying to get through members like this Rek'Sai, as well as the Seraph shielded up Rise. You know, if you've also got Riftmaker healing a ton as well. So it just took far too long for Riven to get there and for the damage to actually be dealt. And in that time, Opik was able to get a kill, get excited, and deal a lot of damage. And then Gojo with just the snipes, like you said, absolute laser accuracy at the moment. And it could have been a brilliant, brilliant team fight right there for AGSB. But the way that Belfast play these team fights out is just that much cleaner.
Yeah, I mean, look at Gojo's position now. Very cheeky out there in the jungle. Hiding in a bush. Probably ready to, you know, anyone who's walking by here unsuspectedly gets stunned, gets deleted here with this Heimerdinger sitting on 3 finished items.
Yeah, 3? With that storm as well? I mean...
Yeah, it's got the storm surge now as well. It's, yeah. It's gonna hurt.
I feel like yikes is the correct way to put this one. That's 2-2 and Herald Knight. They're going to head over onto this Drake. In fact, I think Herald Knight should just leave and go towards this Baron. No, they're going to complete this one up. Oh boy. Riven's being jumped on top of.
He is. Aussie just arriving though at to dive over the wall.
I think he gets out.
Looks like Riven actually might be able to just retreat and hold under the tower. Still a Cassante.
Oh boy, this is going to be a big fight.
This is going to be a lot of damage as we see the Rocket Belt and the Pot Blossom being committed here already on the Nico. Unstoppable coming out here as we see the all-out coming
Sterax.
from... Oh, Aussie actually flashes out.
It's 1-for-1 right now. Support
everywhere.
for mid laner. Gojo being dead is huge though for AGSB. That's a ton of the damage already gone off of the map. You can see just the power of these big shield items, the Theraphs, and then that Sterax pop, which just kept Aussie alive. Sure, they have to blow the flash and a couple tunnels to be able to do so, but you live and you can turn back onto this Baron right now with the full resets coming through out of AGSB. I actually don't know if they can get here in time. This is just going to melt.
Yeah, they are truly melting through it. Even without the Heimerdinger, they don't really seem to need that. And yeah, not even in time to contest anything. It's just being snatched away here by the Buffaloes. Buffaloes are really starting to catch up now with these type of plays.
Yeah, they really are. They are now up by a good chunk of gold, about 5,000 at this point. Sure, they're down by 1 Drake, and it is going to be soul point for AGSB, but I don't think they're going to be minding that one too much. Got themselves that second Baron buff. Now, obviously, we spoke about how it was pretty tricky to be able to push forwards effectively into Mazatutu and all of this wave clear that you have available as AGSB, but I think that the second Baron buff and with these multiple completed items, it's going to be much easier at this point. I mean, Opik has already got 3 completed items, including an Eye Edge. You're just going to be able to pop anybody in front of you. Is also going to be going towards an LDR just to be able to get through Herald Knight and Riven, who are incredibly tanky at this point.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, that's the only thing that is stopping these Mega Pokers from trying to push up, is just the respect they need to have for the front line on the side of AGSB.
Yeah.
So that Lord Doms will be a massive solution for that.
Yeah, and looking at all of these completed items that Riven has, you are so tanky still. If you stand in the face of all of this damage that we spoke about Belfast having drafted for themselves, you're gonna melt still. This Cassante isn't actually as tanky as he may appear. At the same time, if you can get into the backline when you don't have the luxury of just being able to sit and deal damage onto him, say in the midst of a big team fight, that's the point at which Riven can really do some damage. Disrupt the backline, get into there, stop anybody from being able to do what they want to. You know, just Cassante things. Although, look at this. This is just damage from S2A.
Yeah, relentless onslaught here.
And mid lane tower also gonna fall. The base is under serious siege right now.
Yeah, this is just the Pot Blossom coming out once again. There's no stopwatch available, so Nico will fall though. Counter-Strike doesn't quite connect, and look at
it's
the
a
damage
slaughter
coming out from the blue team. It is just, like you said, a downright slaughterhouse. And with the first inhibitor already gone, the Rift Wall committed, it looks like the Buffaloes are ready to close out game number 1, Belfast Buffaloes.
Wow, and I mean, AGSB, they put up a brilliant fight. Their early game was super impressive. I really liked what they were putting down. But they never got themselves out to that big of a lead. It was always a couple kills here, a Drake there, had one stolen away, which delayed things as well. And when it came to those big team fights, all it took was that first kill going over to a Jinx, and everything could change. It was just crazy.
Yeah, it truly was crazy. I mean, it must feel a little bit denting to be so comfortable in this matchup, knowing, all right, we have lost to these guys before, but we're doing good, we're doing fine, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, we're not fine.
No, it was not fine. It was
not fine at all.
And I mean, I just wanna give some real respect right there onto that mid lane play. The Nico performance was so good. Some of those pop blossoms were just nuts. I think part of the issue was that you needed to have that Zhonya's. You needed to have that proto belt to be able to get yourself into position, meaning that you couldn't go for that full AP Nico build to really burst through people, which maybe would have been a bit more effective because of those big ultis coming through. At the same time, though, they were really impressive ultimates, and in a slightly more even matchup, perhaps, those ultimates would have been game-winning. So a lot of respect onto that mid lane performance, but still, there's one more game at least, if not two. Really interesting to see if AGSB are actually going to be able to get themselves back into this one.
Yes, and we will find out more about that after the small break. Alrighty, now we are really back. I hope you enjoyed your little break. We sure did. As we are about to head into game number 2 between the Belfast Map Buffaloes and AGSB. Now, in the break, we were just kind of talking about how the Nico performance was just out of their minds, right?
Yeah.
But there was one thing that you had to add on to that, Black Boxer.
Yeah, my feeling with it was just that I get needing the Proto Belt to try to get yourself into those good positions. There were some crazy uses of the Flash Proto Belt, trying to get positions, popping out of being a minion. I really like that. But the thing with the Zhonya's is, as a first, second item, you just don't deal enough damage, and they were dying anyway. I would have much rather it be a more aggressive Nico build with a lot more AP inbuilt. You're gonna die, but just accept that. Go into the backline, blow everybody up, get like half of their health bars down, and then trust that the rest of your team is going to be able to clear up. You've got a Sivir. Those bounces on all of those auto attacks can deal so much to low health targets, can just chip them down, and all of a sudden you're able to pick up a kill, get that team fight rolling. So that is the one thing that I would have changed about that Nico, but the performance itself, the actual execution of the champion was really clean, and I think that that's perhaps something that you can play around as AGSB. That's a player who you can really try to focus on, because at the same time Gojo also did some great things, but it wasn't that this mid lane turned into, oh, Gojo got loads of solo kills. You know, it wasn't like that. It was instead where these players roamed around to get out of their lanes and then were doing a ton. So maybe you actually want to put some focus onto the mid lane itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Sebula, nutty plays on the Nico. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Great job. But do you think they will consider banning it now that they've seen what they can do?
I think in terms of just the avenues to success, the Nico could definitely be one of them. I wouldn't mind seeing it banned away. I mean, we can have a look, right? We can head on into Champion Select right now and have a look at what it is they decide to ban. Just a reminder again, this one is going to go through very quickly. We would have to imagine they will have done their pre-draft with all the proxies already. And so if we do just shoot straight through this one, we'll try our best to keep up with it.
Yeah, we will. We had an extra shot of coffee in the break and we're ready to go.
Let's
As we
go.
do see the Diana this time being banned away.
Okay,
Right?
yeah. It's a little different. A little different right there. Things not quite as they seem. Milio going to be taken off the board, and yeah, I can understand why you don't want to play up against the Milio right now as AGSB. Both the Milio and the Jinx were incredibly strong. Perhaps they think that the Milio was actually the bigger issue in that situation and are okay with giving over the Jinx. Jinx Lulu always going to be another potential option, as those bans are the same other than the Milio, whereas we're going to see the Ahri, the Aatrox, and the Diana taken off the board, and a straight up pickup for Harold Knight on Wukong.
I like that. That's confidence. We're going to see Remimu locking in that Nami first pick. They like their prios on what they would like to play, I suppose.
Yep. Absolutely, they do. Gonna be able to find a nice Nami. The Enchanter's always gonna be good. The Vi, a little bit different than that Rek'Sai that we saw for Osti, although they had an incredibly impressive performance on that Rek'Sai as well. Was able to find a lot of good ganks early on and then just teamfight effectively with it. Vi's even better at those early ganks, and then that level 6 ult always going to be incredibly useful too. It's going to be the Jinx picked up right here for Sebula. Sorry, so Mazatutu even.
Yeah, absolutely. And this time the Camille was open, so gladly picked up here by Riven. Jarvan getting banned out as Malzahar gets locked in as well.
Okay, Malzahar.
Akali does still get banned though.
Yeah.
So they are still expecting a spicy pick from coming out of S2A in that top lane. Evelyn removed.
Oh no. Oh no.
Draven.
Oh
What?
boy. I mean, I love it. I adore this pick. I think it's going to be super interesting alongside the Nami as well. If you can land one of those bubbles really early on, you can just destroy. And Jinx obviously just wants to sit and scale into the later stages of the game, whereas Draven wants to get things going right now alongside a Vi who can gank and set that up for you. This bot lane could be incredibly explosive. We're going to see the Syndra and then the Blitzcrank locked in. Now, the Blitzcrank is pretty good into the Draven. If you can catch him out super squishy early on, can make his life pretty miserable. And the Jax to round things out.
Yeah, looking like a really solid draft here from Belfast Map Buffaloes.
I like it. I like what they picked up for themselves. You can tell where they're looking. They felt out the bot lane early on. They've now got the Jinx up against them instead of for them. And they're like, okay, I know what to do into the Jinx. Let's just punish it early.
Yeah, absolutely. But I like that. And then I do like that the Blitzcrank response coming out. Definitely onto Anami and Draven, who are quite easy to pick off in that early game. But yeah, who knows? We will see as we head into game number 2.
Alright, so will Belfast be able to clean this one out in a quick 2-0, or will AGSB pull us back and send us to a game number 3? Only time will tell, but we are going to get a 5-man stack up into the top lane right now, and Gojo, oh boy, he doesn't know that this is happening, although he is. They need to hug this wall. If Harold Knight might give this one away a little bit early.
S2A is
boy.
AFK and will die. As first blood going over to Sebula, and seeing how impactful Sebula was last game, that's really not a great start.
No, not a great start. That is another potential avenue to play around as AGSB as they hunt to get us to a game 3. Obviously, this is the big finals right here for the Northerns, so you want to pick this one up. This is a super important matchup for both of these teams. But it is a tough task. That first blood is going to help you out, obviously, but Belfast Buffaloes, they haven't even lost a game so far. They have had just a cakewalk of it so far. They pushed pretty hard in that previous game, though. Both junglers are once again going to start towards the bottom side of the map, not going to be looking to early gank bot lane, as we were potentially looking towards. Instead, going to head up towards the top side. The Camille, it was banned last time around, but has now been given over to Riven. Now, Riven's Cassante performance last time around was pretty dang good. But I wonder how threatening that is going to be to have the Camille up against. Has the Ignite TP as well, so going for a super aggressive build.
Yeah, and I do like that. Like, Camille has been looking really strong in pro play. So I'm just really curious what Riven is going to be doing with that pick.
Yeah,
so far, it's looking actually like S2A might have a little bit of an advantage in that top lane, as we do see the Camille being pushed in completely under the tower.
Yeah, and in the early stages, this matchup can be pretty favored towards the Jax. You're really looking for the poke out and all-in potential once you've gotten your opponent low for the Camille. Otherwise, the versatility and just the use that you get out of that counter stance is going to be huge for S2A. So you need to play this one a little bit careful. Don't get over aggressive with the Ignite on your opposition. There's always the potential for you to get solo killed, but at the same time, as long as you play around that cooldown, as long as you play around having the ability to stop all those auto attacks, Camille isn't able to do quite that much during the actual laning phase, especially early on.
Yeah, exactly. Looks like they are not quite respecting that. Now S2A is starting to fall a little bit low, forced to back off. As we do see Harold making his way slowly through that top side jungle. Looks like both junglers are taking a pretty similar path.
Indeed they are. Things pretty well mirrored. A little bit faster on the clear is the Vi, sorry. But at the same time, you don't really have a gank avenue towards the top side as you do potentially as Harold Knight, just because of the push that the Jax has been able to get. We've got some low health bars and lack of mana in the mid lane, which could potentially be somewhere to play around. Asti going to be able to pick up this this Rift Scuttler, and then potentially head down towards the bottom side, try to double scuttle, which would be a great way to start this one out.
Yes, great to keep allowing your bot lane to step it up as they have been doing right now. And we do see the first hook connecting here onto Nami in the bot lane. She is falling extremely low, still holding on to, or extremely low. What am I saying? She's a Nami. She can just press W.
She just heals.
She just
doesn't
heals.
care. Just doesn't.
Here's some water. You'll feel better.
It is pretty funny to watch, as it looked like Asti wanted to go in onto this mid lane, did get pushed back by the Scatter the Weak. I think was more interested in just trying to stop the recall delay a little bit from Sebula, pick up that wave, make sure that Gojo had enough time to get back to that wave, and not lose out onto too much, as we do see the first couple of recalls coming through. You're going to get back into lane in a slightly better position, actually, as Sebula right here, coming back with the full Lost Chapter. Gank top lane, though.
See. I tried to connect that Q. Nah, changed his mind, actually. I mean, it's a massive wave that you want to then try to engage behind.
Yeah, indeed.
But Austin will
Doesn't
be taking that reset.
Yeah, things not going to be quite as explosive, and it's been a pretty calm early game so far. That one kill going down was pretty nice, but everything else has been chill. Although with this Drake spawned available, we could see a little bit of extra aggression coming in a couple of minutes' time, potentially. And you do want to accelerate the pace of the game right here as Belfast. You've got way better scaling right now as the majority of AGSB. You're going to be happy to go into the late game with your Jinx, with your Syndra, with your Camille. All of that is really effective. Whereas a Vi, a Draven, these things want to get online as quickly as possible. The Vi can fall behind and feel pretty useless if you don't get a couple kills early. Draven, never going to scale as well as a Jinx. You need to cash in on those adoration stacks as quickly as possible and then turn that into a lead. If you can do that, if you can find a couple of early kills, especially around a Drake or something, that's the point at which this Draven can become basically unmanageable. You've always got to worry about those Blitzcrank hooks, but if you're able to avoid them, then you can just pump out that damage.
Yeah, exactly. And we do have a Nami standing right next to it. Possible to even try and build up my kills early on for that extra sustain and the cleanse, of course, that it gives. But now, looks like red team is still looking to play as aggressive as possible. Try and get that lead that you were talking about.
Yeah, they're just going to keep pushing that one in. There was a gank mid lane out of Osti. Actually blew the flash, went for the flash Q. Didn't end up finding the kill. Did manage to get the flash off of Sebula, though. So that is going to be a little bit of extra vulnerability. As, oh boy, we see just a solo kill top lane. S2A just able to pick that one up nice and easy. Getting a solo kill onto one of those signature champions is going to be huge.
That is huge. Huge also for, of course, the the confidence as this game goes on.
S2A. Gonna be very, very happy to have picked up that one. Also draws Harold Knight out into the top lane just to pick up that minion wave under the tower, make sure that it isn't wasted gold. Bottom lane, because you know that your opposition's jungler is up in the top lane, you're able to just easily grab this Drake. It will be a trade over for those first 3 set of grubs. Not going to be the end of the world as Osti, as long as you can get back there for the next set that spawn. Don't want to give over all 6, that can be pretty terrifying, especially against a Camille. Sure, the Camille loses out in that 1v1 right now, but later on, once you get that 2 item point for a Camille, she becomes a split pushing nightmare, and if you've got yourself all of those grubs available, that's the point at which you can really take over a game and change the landscape of it, because the other team has to respect that split push at all times.
Absolutely, and that is something that nobody is really looking forward to. So let's hope that they do not pick up the grubbies, the blobs, the what do you call them?
I call them the grubbies.
Oh, the grubbies, as we do
boy.
see a lot of ultis being committed here. Sebula
the
scattered a weak actually hits, but Sebula does not manage to get out of there. The burn will be enough.
Yeah, it's really difficult to run away from a Malzahar when you've just got so much tick damage that you can lay down. Doesn't even have any completed items right now. Jin steps up, tries to find another one of these hooks. Just buying a bit of space for Mazatutu more than anything. But that's now an effective gank completed out of Osti. Want to see a couple more of those to make sure that this Vi has been used to its absolute extent of potential in the early game. And I think this is a really interesting look at the Wukong and Vi as champions, because I'm not a fan of the Wukong in general. As Hook goes wide, could keep talking about how much I dislike Wukong.
Yeah,
Wukong is really reliant on his lanes for setting him up with actual damages. This is going to be a delayed recall? Oh, okay. The Draven ult was coming through. He's really reliant on you setting up your lanes to be able to get your ganks, because you don't have any hard CC during the early stages of the game. Once you've got level 6, you do, obviously. That's the point at which you've got your Cyclone. You could be more effective in and of yourself. But the Vi also has to get loads of early kills to be able to be effective, but has the ability to put those through for herself, as this is a dive here. Look at all of these tools. Look at all of these tools that you possess as a Vi to make ganks happen for yourself. It's why I prefer it over the Wukong in almost every situation, and the way it's being piloted by Osti right now, very effective.
I mean, Osti has been such a staple player, I feel, for this. As we do see the hook, there's a tidal wave to deny the kill.
Rocket!
But I spoke too soon. You are right. That was indeed a rocket.
Yup. Big old Super Mega Death Rocket to the face. Going to be able to pick up that kill onto Opik. And that is not the way that you want this early matchup to go. You lose so many stacks for dying early like that as the Draven. Now as the Jinx, you're going to be in a very strong position, already having completed that Noon Quiver, and then you can just keep running through this Draven at the moment. The Draven obviously going to be going towards more of a lethality build. The items are pretty expensive, and losing out on that kill just puts you in a pretty dang rough position. You don't want to lose out to the Hyperscaler as the early game champion. That's kind of one of the first rules of League, right?
That is, I think that would be the first rule of League.
Mm.
Maybe something like don't lose your cannon, but then we do see now ulti coming out here from Harold. One more time as we do see Austin running low. The silence though might be enough as he's stacking the full wave, but it is not. Double kill onto Gojo, but Austin will lose his life for that. Gojo probably doesn't really mind.
No.
Gets to pick up some free plates. Gets to pick up a free wave. There's no TP available for the Syndra, so it will cost Sebula very dearly.
Yeah, and the thing is, as Osti, you're not that bothered by dying. Obviously, you would prefer not to, but the amount of kills you've given over already got that Malignance completed on Gojo too. This is just a ton of turret plates going into his back pocket as well. And you are just falling further and further behind in this mid lane. You've got a big minion wave that you've just lost out on. You managed to pick up a decent amount as Sebula, so you're not massively far behind. But still, you've only now just completed that Ludens as Sebula, whereas that Malignance already being completed meant that the damage was just so different for Gojo. And as the Vi, you're fine with giving extra kills onto your mid laner because having a strong Malzahar in team fights is just so big. Oh, hang on.
Oh, hang on indeed, as we do see the tidal wave trying to catch anyone. Will catch Jhin, but Jhin is safe and sound. This flash was committed to secure this disengage. But Aussie, not yet done on the vision though.
Wants to keep going. This is going to be a concede of that second set of grubs. So you are going to be giving all 6 of the grubbies over right here to AGSB.
I think it's too late for that,
yeah,
to be honest with you.
They can't go over for them. This is just going to be all... Hang on. Oh, S2A could try to dissuade.
Yeah, he could. And I think he has now successfully managed to scare the monkey away from the grubs. He has, as he is looking to engage. And I just pray Observer will go there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. We do see that Drake going over. It's going to be that second completed Drake. Osti, because of that good play right there out of S2A, is actually going to be able to head up towards these grubs and not concede all of them. I don't know how many were taken originally. I think 1 at least definitely went down. There should be 4. Yeah, 4 have been picked up. There are still 2 available. Could be a gank top lane.
Will be a gank top lane. There's the Hextech ultimatum to respawn. Riven looking fairly safe so far. Just had to commit the ulti. Still has the ignite available to them. Harold down in the bottom side, so nowhere near to assist. But Jhin is making his way up through that jungle.
Yeah, you can make a pretty educated guess that right now Osti will be wanting to go towards these grubs. Instead, Osti actually just going to go back to base. Doesn't know well enough where everybody is. Probably doesn't have any vision right now on Jhin, but knows that they aren't in the bot lane alongside Mazatutu. You don't want to step up and try to get that second couple of grubs whilst you don't know where the enemy support is. That is going to be a recipe for disaster. Instead, going to go back to base, head back out with a full health bar, and try to fight for this last 2. Although I think that actually we're just going to end up with the Rift Herald spawning. So it's just going to be 4 going over. It's not all 6. Not going to have too much of a grub-based problem on the split push against Riven. Still, I like what has been...
Oh, the hook
was on vision.
On to the vision. Even flashes, but does not matter anymore. We're dead anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be unfortunate right there. I mean, just going to get caught out. That's not going to cost you that much, although ganking the top lane as well. Wait, who's ganking who? Because right now S2A doesn't seem to care about the fact there's 3 people in his lane.
Nope. I mean, he is a Trinity Force Jax, so he can
fine.
handle himself pretty well. He's a big boy at this point.
No kidding that he's a big boy. That was a hook that landed, pulling him into the midst of 3 members, and he didn't care. He was absolutely fine to just keep sitting on in that top lane, surrounded by 3 of the opposition, dealing damage, having a good time. That is now going to be a Trinity Force completed back for both Harold Knight and Riven. Unlikely that in this situation, S2A would be able to sit and just face tank once again. Bot lane, a lot of damage being put down by Mazatutu. Opic took some...
Yeah. The flash in return.
Opic took some turret shots there, which says things a little bit
definitely
spicy.
did, but now Remy has arrived.
Jin.
They have to run away. They have to run away from the Blitzcrank.
Oh, no.
Connector onto Remy. The silence is there in the root, and the ulti coming back ultimately to Opic, but will not have done too much. As we do see, Rift Herald has been started up here. There's a beautiful ulti coming out here from Gojo. Will pull out that Hextech ultimatum. Now a little bit isolated. S2A looking to find the CC here on top of Herald, but it's not going to happen. Vi arrives to the scene, will connect the ulti as Herald will fall in return. It will be 2 kills to 1 for the side of BNB. BNB still definitely, pushing themselves through this game with
hang on,
aggressively
Austin.
this time. Aussie?
Yo. Okay, they're just going to go for the tier 2 tower dive. Also having that Rift Herald down as well, so they're going to be able to pick up this turret too. That's going to be a massive injection of gold. You get like 700 gold for that nowadays. Oh, pull in though.
Yeah, pull in though. Almost has the flash available. Q's over the wall, so is just fine. Gojo a little bit less fine. Will pay massive shutdown going over to Wukong here.
And that is a big, big shutdown. You really need that as the Wukong. Keep yourself relevant in this game. Still, that is going to be the first death for Gojo, and Gojo was able to pick himself up 2 turrets, couple of kills in that fight. I don't think Gojo's going to be too worried about that one. Goes back to base, has now got a completed Leandries on top of that Malignant. Well on the way to that next item as well. Blasting Wand, Amplifying Tome. Picked up 2, still hasn't got tier 2 boots, doesn't need it, doesn't need movement speed, just wants to deal damage. So we can see a gank in the bot lane. Can Jin catch up? No.
Not if Opic lands that. There's a tidal wave.
It does land.
Connects.
Oh, the hook!
Beautiful hook coming out here onto Remy. Remy will pay the price right away. Just get absolutely deleted, sent back to base. Not much else that can be done here, honestly. I don't feel like Buffalo should overstay their welcome here. And it looks like they won't.
Oh, they need to back themselves off right now. There is going to be a Drake coming up in 10 seconds time, so you want to be in the area, but Opic has already used that ulti. Now it looks like all of a sudden Orsty wanted to go in. Doesn't in the end, and Opic played that fight pretty well. Managed to get in, land a double buff back, have the ultimate Whirling Death come through, but it just doesn't deal any damage at the moment, whereas the hook was amazing out of Jin.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just where, the Blitzcrank is so incredibly impactful. Now immediately the jump, the double bubble, but Jin will pay for that. Immediately dies as Harold's still standing, but not for much longer. Aussie will fall.
Boy.
And now Jinx
no.
is getting excited, and that means trouble for you if you're Jinx, apparently, because S2A had something to say about that. Picks up a triple for himself, and that will be a full team wipe once again. The Belfast Mad Buffaloes wiping the floor with AGSB.
You can't see, but my head's in my hands, because we see that one again. It's a bot lane fight around the Drake that ends in just a million kills going over 2 Belfast Buffaloes. And it feels like Belfast Buffaloes just play these team fights out better. The Jinx got excited. That was a huge potential play. You had Riven finally get involved, and was in a good spot to be able to do a ton, but S2A survived for a ridiculous amount of time, using that counter-strike incredibly effectively, and just doing so much damage with the Trinity Force, and then finally, Opic and Remimu were able to actually get the damage dealt. You still don't do that much at the moment of this Draven, but you're going to cash in some Adoration stacks, going to be able to get that injection of gold. We'll see what Opic has in the back pocket once they go back to base and buy, because I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to have another fully completed item ready to go.
Yeah, and this is where it's going to start getting dangerous.
Oh yeah.
Collector completed, and that will be the second one and in the pocket here for Opic. Yeah, the Infinity Edge. What else are you possibly looking for?
Yeah. You know, I mean, it's a Draven. If you don't have an Nvidia edge, are you really attempting to play this one out? A little bit of lethality, a little bit of crit, and you're going to be quite happy right now. Finally, I think once Opic starts hitting things, they're going to be doing a good amount of damage back. And we've got the potential for another big team fight coming in just, 10, 15 seconds time. The Baron is going to spawn. Now, I don't think either of these teams want to just straight rush it, but if you can win a fight around the Baron, this is going to be pretty easy to pick up. Jhin, playing with fire right there, is actually going to survive. Decides not to face check that bush, which, would have been a bad decision.
That would have been a bad decision for sure. We do have Gojo's ulti available as well, which of course is a massive playmaker.
Sebula's bot lane with no teleport. So if you find a big fight right here as Belfast, you're in a great spot to be able to turn it straight into a Baron or just win the fight because you don't have that very high-powered mid laner available to you.
No, exactly. And that is the call for them
Now
to start up the Baron. Now Sebula is backing off, but Hook goes wide here.
Where's the engage? Where's the engage? There it is.
Everything gets pumped onto Riven here. Osti in the back, standing for so long. This Vi is being such a menace to the Jinx as she will now retreat towards that Baron. They know they've won this fight. Super Mega Death Rocket. It does a bit of damage. It doesn't find a kill. And that is Baron secured here.
Gonna be Baron secured as these fights continue. Jhin also gonna go down. We'll see if Sebula's able to survive. Last remaining member does live at least. Is able to pick up one kill back, but still a complete wipe right there for Belfast Met Buffaloes. They're going to be very happy with that one. They don't want to go to another game. They want to end this one right here, right now. They want to be crowned as the summer champs right here for Student Esports. And what a performance it has been. That was a brilliant fight once again, and just great map recognition. You saw that you had Sebula down in the bot lane without a teleport. Now is the time to go. They pull the trigger, they win the team fight, and Sebula doesn't get there in time, as we all knew that they weren't going to be able to do. Brilliant recognition on the play, and great execution too. Kind of sums up the way that the Buffaloes have played this entire split, right?
Absolutely does. Oh, there we see the Hook once again flying wide. Great sidestep here from Opic on the Draven. Osti trying to push in that bottom lane here. Osti, I feel like we should give a lot of credit to this jungler. Has been so pivotal for the wins that this team has been having. Jhin gets caught out and sent back to base, but not in the way that you'd want to be sent back to base. And right now it looks like this tier 2 bottom tower is on the menu for the Buffaloes.
Yeah, they've got decent wave clear once again. It's going to be pretty tricky to just step up and take down this turret. Indeed, we see that kind of minion deleted by a Scatter the Weak from Sebula, but it doesn't really matter. You can just keep this pressure up right now. If anybody oversteps, you're going to be able to kill them incredibly quickly, and you've got Gojo getting a push going across this mid lane across this top lane right now. Whirling Death just for extra damage.
Yeah, extra damage gets rid of the front minions at least, but again, this wave here on the side.
S2A.
Oh, there's a Hexic Ultimatum here. S2A in the middle of everybody. Lands a beautiful stun. It's just so tanky, but not tanky enough, as we do see kills being traded back and forth. Nami actually picking up that double kill. Finding herself stuck between a tower and a monkey. Has to flash away, but will most likely live, as this tower will not. Did I speak too soon? I spoke too soon.
A little bit too soon.
I spoke too soon. It's the Super Mega Jinx, as actually both Opic and Remy fall here.
Yeah.
A little bit of overstaying.
It really was just over-aggressive.
I mean, look at the top lane.
Yes. Yeah,
Gojo
top lane.
has just been pushing the whole time.
Crazy plays right there. Gets a push, manages to get a full inhibitor, but it was just over-aggressive out of S2A, was in the backline. This is going to be a teleport coming down. Gojo is very alone right now.
And very dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very dead. So, despite the fact that Belfast Buffaloes have put themselves in a very strong position, I get the feeling that maybe they were feeling a little bit too good about their position in this game.
S2A.
Wait.
Look at him.
Oh.
Teleports in, jumps over the wall. This Jax is a madman as he just starts whacking away with his lamp pole. Beautiful double stun coming out here. Jhin falling low with the movement speed, manages to walk out, and S2A is just looking a bit like a fool right now with that TP committed.
what's the phrase?
I don't
Lemmings,
know. You tell me.
cliffs, just walking one by one to their deaths right now. Are Belfast Buffaloes. Osti decides that actually it's his turn right now. That being
It
said, could
is.
get the support out of Opik and Remimu.
Could if they get here in time, but it looks like that might not be the case. Tidal wave goes wide.
Oh
As
my
now
lord.
Aussie is dead too, and
Oh
it
my
looks like the
lord.
bot lane is second on the menu, as they will be falling as well, actually. Oh,
Opik.
Opik dancing back and forth picks up one kill, but will die in the end as well.
There are super minions in the base, but I mean, I was being a little bit jokey with lemmings off a cliff one by one to their deaths, but then you just reinforced the point right here, Buffaloes. They decide to send a couple more members one by one to go and meet their demise. That's a ton of gold and shutdown that you've just given to the opposition. You're still down by a huge chunk, around about 6,000 gold. It's not like you're all of a sudden straight back into this game, but that
No.
was a decent amount of gold into a couple of key members, especially Mazatutu. Only got those 2 completed items. At a third, that's when the Jinx can really come online. There are now 3 completed items, though, for Sebula, so you've got to be respectful of a couple of these key members and know that if you walk one by one into the opposition, this isn't going to go very well. Still, Belfast Met Buffaloes, when they play these 5v5 team fights, all members are available, that's when they're at their scariest.
Exactly, but looks like not all 5 are willing to group up just yet. So we do see that Remy is putting down some wards here in the opposing jungle. As now Harold already arrived to the scene. It's a big stun. Jin just decides to hook him in. Will pay for that, but they will get that counter kill. Ulti's being committed back and forth here already. Vi looking to find it. The player over the wall finds himself stuck in the tower. Doesn't really work out here for the Buffaloes. Not really sure what the idea was there, as that was just a little too deep, if you ask me.
Yeah, just a little bit. Weren't able to find, all of the big plays that they were really looking for. Again, couple more kills going over to AGSB. It feels like they could potentially launch a comeback right here, but it's still going to be incredibly tough. You've got a little while until that soul point is going to be available. Second Baron soon, potentially. And we saw 2 bold Baron calls from AGSB in the previous game. They didn't work out, ended up, in fact, kind of throwing the game for them. But they're going to make a bold decision right here. I love it because you are down. This is the situation where you do just want to throw yourself at a Baron. And I think they're going to be able to pick this one up. It's just melting.
Yeah, I don't think that they're gonna get there in time. You're absolutely right. Jin actually
Teleport
finds
behind.
another hook, the jump, the commitment over the wall.
Oh, Mazatutu's dead.
It goes flying wide though. The bubble doesn't connect either, and the Jax will pick up his first kill, find a mark. Jinx already dead, as you mentioned. Harold spinning around in the backline. It will not even matter as Riven will try to get away from their demise, but will
it was a
fall
snipe.
into that gorgeous whirling death coming out of Opik.
Oh, what a snipe. It's done,
That we're
Zod.
looking at the end of this game.
Yeah, this is going to be the end. It was a great teleport flank out of Gojo to get onto the backline, kill Mazatutu. Their main damage threat dead meant that it's just going to be a clean pickup right here, clean ace for Belfast Met Buffaloes. And they're going to win this series. They're going to be crowned as the British Student Esports champions right here.
Yeah, and you are watching it right here. As the Nexus falls, it will be the Belfast Met Buffaloes that will be taking the title.
Incredible performance from that team. This second game was a lot cleaner. It really never felt like you were actually in this one for AGSB. I guess that first kill, the first blood that went down, was pretty good. And then beyond that point, everything kind of just went wrong. Really impressive performance out of Belfast Bet Buffaloes. That means that they haven't lost a single game this split.
Yeah, and that's just a staple performance. Like, what else can I say about it? They haven't lost a single, not even a map. And I think that just says enough. They are the winners, and they should be.
Yeah. Such an incredibly impressive performance. Would like to say a little bit of commiserations to AGSB. They made it all the way to the finals. They showed us some really good things. I loved some of that play in the mid lane. That Nico performance, incredibly impressive. Mazatutu as well, having a pretty good game on the Jinx, was beating out bot lane versus a Draven. Love to see that. I enjoyed the Blitzcrank performance too, So lots to be thankful for, lots to be impressed with. go on to the next one, tried to run it back, but unfortunately they just came up against an immovable object in the Buffaloes. Belfast, very deserved winners.
Absolutely deserved winners. Yeah, there's not much else I can add. I just agree 100%. There was some individual brilliance on AGSB, but it just was not enough to drag them over the line to take us to game number 3, sadly.
Unfortunately, the team play, the individual play as well, from everybody from those Met Buffaloes was far, far too strong. Belfast, congratulations on that one, and thank you to everybody who has participated in this tournament. You know, we can't do it without the players.
No, that's absolutely true. And I think that sadly that will be it for us for tonight. It was a fast one. Black Boxer, thank you so much for joining me.
Alright, thank you very much for having me. It was a great time.
Thank you. And then we wish all of you a wonderful evening, and we'll see you for the next one.